Orwell. Keeping an eye on you.
What if your government were tracking everything you do? Every social media post, every text message, every email. What if they were listening to every phone call? What if they were geolocating you through your phone? And then maybe corroborating that evidence with CCTV footage? What if they were using this data to chart your day, everything you do? What if they extrapolated that to a week or a month? Why not a year? What if they were doing this for your entire life? And then what if they did this to everyone you've ever come in contact to? All of your friends and family, and their friends and family, and so on. Just on a tiny suspicion you might be involved in terrorist acts, or just any kind of threat to the nation. This is the premise of Orwell, Keeping an Eye on You, which I gained through Humble's bundle service as part of their trove of DRM-free games. And I'm really glad that I did. I was already going to do, the Mr. Robot, Watch Dogs, etc. kind of idea, but this allowed me to look at it from a totally different angle. You play a contractor of the nation, who is outside of the nation, obviously, to protect everyone. You're not directly involved, therefore you're not going to vote against this at some point in the future. That's probably the reason. And you're there just basically like, oh, we've got this CCTV footage, is there anyone interesting on this camera? Oh, you've got that person getting on a bus, okay, let's build out the web here. And of course the game does take liberties. I think if you were tracing every single connection from a person who you suspected, there'd be so many dead ends it would be boring. In a game, people would give up after the first half an hour. It's like, well, I've looked at 70 people and one of them was possibly relevant. So of course this does make that, that first person is connected to this person who actually it does link to this person, and everyone is kind of interwoven and interconnected. But that obviously is serving the narrative. It would be definitely more boring in real life. I've no qualms about that. I think it wouldn't be compelling to make it too realistic, let's say. But this idea of this system that that can chart this kind of data on people's lives, and that you can build this kind of ever-growing network of possible connections. And like I say, it's just on the suspicion of being a threat to the nation. That's the criterion. And that level of suspicion doesn't have to be extreme. Were you ever involved in, say, an anti-establishment group? Then you're worthy. The idea of the system, because originally it was just going to be one person making all decisions and taking control entirely. But someone cleverly put in sort of checks and balances by having a second who wouldn't be using the system but would be your intermediary, who would then ask for authorization for you to do certain things. So the idea was there to make it less corruptible, but you're still putting a human in the machine who is corruptible. And the way that the game plays out, you can cause people's deaths. You can come out of it entirely scot-free. You can come out with a perfect ending. I didn't. I lost the ex-soldier because I didn't see one opportunity that I should have taken to prevent it. And I didn't restart. I don't believe in save scumming, which is, to keep a save from a previous point and go back. Or replaying the chapter, I suppose, in this case, more appropriately. I don't believe in that. I stand by decisions, unless it's something really ridiculous. I'm just like, no, hold on, no. That was unfair. But I thought, no, this was fair. I had the information there. I realised afterwards, it's like, I should have gone this route, and I'd have been much better. I'd have pinpointed the right thing at the right time, etc. But those kind of decisions, if these were being taken in the real world, how would I have really felt about that? Because I couldn't go back if it was really happening. I caused this woman to take her life. And that's a heavy thing to deal with. It's what I really enjoyed about this game. It asks the difficult questions, whilst it is, about sort of should governments have, such ridiculous levels of power, because it's stated in the game, this is a political tool. It's nothing more. It doesn't really, they don't really feel that it's actually going to prevent crimes in a meaningful way. Could you have prevented the third bombing if you were good enough? I don't think so. I'm not sure. If someone's played it and actually done that, then please let me know. But I think if you can't, then that's obviously an intentional decision. That's what the game is saying here. You can't use this technology to prevent it. There's other ways. Not being so overbearing is probably a good way to not make your public or your citizenship rebel against you. And it was a very hard game to take at times. That decision did sit with me for a day or two afterwards, even though it wasn't even like, a virtual person running around. It wasn't like 3D or anything like that. It was all kind of drawn and kind of 2D. So there wasn't a, representation or anything like that, but there still was the idea of a person. It's kind of what I was saying in the Bioshock thing. The little sisters aren't really small girls, but they're a representation of it. And that's enough. If you can build that attachment, then that's good writing. And, good execution all round. And I did. I felt mad about it, and at the end, when I was looking at it, I looked deeper into it, other people's playthroughs, what had other people experienced, just because I don't fancy going through multiple times to get every ending. So I was like, is there are there other routes that can be taken? And I looked, I was like, oh, I could have saved her. Of course I could, yes. And like I say, it sat with me. And that's a good game. Now, I have looked, and there is actually a sequel, but it doesn't hit the same kind of impact. So I haven't played it. I'm not going to look at it. Unless people really want me to. If you really want me to take a look at it, please let me know, and I'll take a look and see what merit, because I know it deals more with the fake news side than the kind of government surveillance. But it is an interesting piece. I'd say have a look at it yourself. Don't expect amazing things. It is an independent production. It's not AAA. So don't go in expecting all the bells and whistles. But it serves its purpose well, to make you think about surveillance, to make you think about the power that we give to governments and such. And I think it's a really good counterpoint to, like I say, the other stuff, with Mr. Robot, etc. It's looking at it from a different angle, but still, you're still coming out going, this isn't right. And I think it tells its message well. I've enjoyed this weird tangent. I really wanted to see Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, oh, what's Rami Malek been in? And I went down a rabbit hole, and that's a really fitting way to look at this, if we think Matrix style. I've definitely gone down the rabbit hole and explored some thoughts that I've been looking to do for a while. So I'm glad I've finally got them out there, and I hope you've enjoyed this weird journey. We are going to completely change it up next week, I promise. It's not going to be government surveillance and hacking or anything like that. It's not going to be Rami Malek inspired either. It's going to be something entirely new. So I do hope you'll join me then. But until then, as always, thanks for watching and take care.